Hey, and welcome back to The Explainer. So in the world of generative AI, we hear a ton about the big companies, right? But today, we're going to focus on someone different. We're talking about the digital artisans, the people in the trenches, the ones actually building the tools, pushing the limits, and asking the really tough questions. Let's get into it. So think about it for a second. We're constantly hearing about these massive AI models coming out of the big tech giants. But who's actually on the ground floor, crafting the custom tools and the specific workflows that artists and creators rely on every single day?
And that question leads us directly to our subject for today, a creator who goes by the handle Creepybits. Now, their own tagline is ComfyUI Custom Nodes and Workflow Consult. I know, it sounds super technical, right? But believe me, that simple description is hiding a much better story about where creative AI is headed.
All right, Section 1. Let's dig in and really get to know who this creator, Creepybits, actually is. This is really the key to understanding what's going on here. We're not just talking about a coder. No, we are looking at a new kind of creative force in the AI space. They're part developer, for sure, building super practical tools. They're also part artist, pushing the envelope of what you can even create. And, this is the crucial part, they're also part commentator, stepping back and asking, okay, but what does all of this mean?
So, let's move on to Section 2, inside the AI workbench. Because that whole combination of developer / artist / commentator, it really comes to life when you look at their actual work. Okay, so if you have ever tried to use an AI image generator, you know this pain. You create the absolute perfect character, and then you can never get them back again. It is so frustrating, and it's exactly that kind of real-world practical problem that Creepybits just tackles head-on.
And their solution is just brilliant, because it makes a really complex process seem simple. In a guide they made for something called LoRa training, which is just a fancy way of saying teaching an AI a specific character, they break it down into this powerful two-step system. First, you find your patient zero, that one perfect image that is the absolute essence of your character. Then, you use that to build a whole consistent data set so the AI can actually learn from it. It's just a clean, methodical fix for a super common headache.
But they're not just fixing today's problems. They're also acting kind of like a scout for the rest of us, venturing out to the frontier to test these gigantic new AI models the second they drop.
Just look at this number, 20 billion. That's how many parameters are in the new QN text-to-image model. I mean, to put that in perspective, that is a colossal jump in complexity. And Creepybits was already taking it apart and analyzing it for the community just days after it came out. And this is what makes them so valuable. See, they don't just announce, hey, a new model exists. No way. They put it through its paces. They kick the tires. And the title of their analysis says it all. Is this model a game-changing queen or just another promising princess? It's that kind of critical, no-hype evaluation that the community absolutely needs.
All right, now for Section 3. From code to commentary. Because when you do that kind of deep technical work, it gives you a really unique perspective. It lets you see beyond the code and offer some seriously powerful insights.
Because think about it. When you spend all your time building and testing the very foundations of creative AI, you start to see the bigger picture. You notice the fault lines, you see the power dynamics, the tricky ethical questions that a lot of other people might miss. That hands-on experience is what makes their commentaries so credible.
And that commentary can be incredibly sharp. In their writing, they talk about this group they call the shadow regulators. And quoting here, these are the unelected, unaccountable corporate entities that use their control over essential infrastructure to enforce their own brand of morality. Wow, that's somebody who's really thinking about where the power actually lies in this new digital world.
And you can really see the two sides of their work here. On the one hand, you have the concrete, technical stuff, the custom nodes, the training guides, the model tests. But on the other hand, you have this sharp analysis of the big forces at play, like platform power and corporate overreach. It's the mix of the how and the why that makes their voice so important.
But, amazing work and sharp ideas don't have much of an impact if they're just sitting in a vacuum. And that's where this next part comes in. Section 4, building the community. I mean, especially in the AI world, which is so driven by open source collaboration, creation is never a solo act. It's a conversation. A creator's work only really comes alive when it gets shared and debated and remixed and improved by a whole community of people.
And you can see just how deliberate Creepybits has been in building that conversation. It's a really smart, multi-platform ecosystem. For the developers who need the code, there's GitHub and Civet AI. For the people who want to see it in action, there's Instagram and YouTube.
And for the discussion, the debate, the support, there's Reddit and Patreon. Every platform has its own job, and they all work together. Okay, so we've looked at their work, their ideas, and their community. Let's bring it all home for our last section, Section 5, and ask the big question: why does a creator like this really matter? So here's the bottom line. This entire field is moving at a dizzying speed. It's packed with hype, it's incredibly complex, and frankly, we desperately need trusted guides. Creepybits really embodies this new, vital role. They're someone who's not just a skilled builder, but also a clear-eyed navigator for the rest of us. And what's so cool is that it's a perfect feedback loop. See, the practical tools they build give them the credibility to test the new tech. That hands-on testing gives them the insight to ask the really tough questions. And by building a community, they make sure those questions and insights get shared and debated by everyone. It all just feeds into itself.
And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We are all living through this massive technological shift, and as AI keeps weaving itself deeper and deeper into the fabric of our lives, the question on this slide becomes more critical every day. Who will you trust to build our new reality?